Morning, everybody. Today, so we're a little ahead of schedule, so I don't think we're going to go beyond noon today. Well, homework items, obviously, for finishing up putting together the worksheet, but that can be done over time. What I'd like is today, if everybody could just email me the sheet in its current state, whether it's finished or not, that'll help me start putting together the plan that I need to put together. And then over time, we'll collect the rest of those. Today, we're just going to go over reporting. So what I really wanted to do was in the sense of tracking your departmental specialized training, policies, procedures that you're responsible for making sure the employees of your department are up to speed on, and taking them regularly and on time, and that's kind of what we're looking to be reporting on today. Examples of your current ones, that'll be, and I'm going to catalog those, and basically after this I'll map them to what we have, and then we'll determine if there's any gaps that need to be adjustments for the implementation. And then there's stuff that you guys don't have that you would like to have reported. So we'll talk about what are moving forward, and we'll catalog those. So what I'll start with, there we go. So the agenda, current reporting discussion, then we'll look at what you would like to have as reporting. And then, for homework, to the contractor listings. I know you guys may not have access to all those for each department, for the subcontractors, for the contractor compliance piece of this. That'll be a homework item too, if we can get those out. There's a tab on the worksheet. It's just got kind of name, address, and contact information. If we can get that filled out too. So for the current reports, well, you know what? Actually, before we do that, I'm just going to give you a quick show of the types of reports that are available in our system. There we go. Okay. So when we get to the discussion on what your reporting needs are, I think just to show you kind of the capabilities or how we can represent different data in our system, give you an idea of the reports that are available, report types. So this one here is a regulation implementation. Obviously, we can represent percentages as dials. We can have multiple indicators on the dials for different. One here is representing different. These are the documents that roll up to this standard, the Workwell standard, which is a regulation. These are the three types of training. These are the three statuses of the training documentation that's part of that. So the documents are live, 46 are in draft, and 92, which is a 92% total, which should be 100%. Why is it not 100? Live, draft, and there may be some expired. But we're actually, what I want to just, this is the type of graph we can show. So you can have multiple indicators on these as well. So this is just to give you an idea of thing in the report. There's also, for a lot of, there's drill through, which I don't know if you have that with your current reports. So this here is a risk analysis. So activities, risk level. This is the residual risk level from what we did in a risk analysis. Basically, this is where you are now, because not all of the controls. Somewhat, but if everybody, the idea here is if everybody was 100% on all of their training, they'd be down at the residual. This shows, so it's a bar. And with the drill throughs, you can actually go into these and take a look at what makes those up. So a lot of the reporting that we have in this of a graph or a dial to give you an overview, and then you can click in and drill down into sort of the details that show exactly what that makes up. And then you can have obviously multi-levels of drill throughs. So those are all available. This is another one. This is compliance by position, which is probably something your department heads would be interested in. There's also another drill through. So we've got some here. We've got a lot of that are 100%. We've got one that's 80%. That drops me into here, and I can then look at, so I've got multiple drill throughs on this particular one, so I can go look at the training matrix. So this is kind of like a nice planning tool. Gives you an overview of employees in that position. Here's all the things they're supposed to be trained on, and the reds and greens show me where I've got gaps. So obviously visually I can see immediately that Ahmad is not done any of his training here. So I'm going to take care of that. So look at the matrix. Do you guys do training matrix right now? Daniel, do you do this kind of stuff? Where you got the big, no? So the spreadsheets are almost the same thing, right? Yeah.
My question on that is, so like this one, we're tracking, these are certifications that our guys can have, but they're not necessarily required.
Okay.
So is there a way for us to, list them that?
I'm going to put that in as a gap because Daniel was talking about the same thing. So I think, though, Tony Lynn was saying that she wanted to keep those in Kayenta, right? The additional things that are not requirements for training, but are things that people have taken.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think Kayenta may be maintaining those. So we'll have to. I'll put it in the discovery as a discussion point, so we can solidify all that. But the training, yeah, that's almost identical to how it kind of tracks things as well. So those are kind of the reporting that you can have. There's also line graphs. It's pretty robust reporting system.
So we should be looking at your program mostly for the things that are absolutely required and we want to alert on it.
Yeah, yeah.
So not necessarily the entire, tracking in its entirety.
Yeah, I think from my conversations with Kayenta, they were going to look at keeping the additional things that weren't part of so I think what we're going to go through a process of, now do you guys actually work towards a standard? Is there any ISO standards or anything like that that you guys adhere to? Like ISO certification or in terms of health and safety? Z1000 or 18001?
I know that people have taken that training on occasion, but we don't, not that I'm aware of, we
Okay.
don't have any sort of set
Okay. Okay.
program.
Okay. So, so a lot of what we do for that is we'll set up a corporate standard that basically everything that's a requirement in the corporation, we'll create a regulation for that to measure how well you're actually hitting. So it's not a set standard by somebody else, but it's actually your corporate best practices is what that turns out to be. Okay, so let's take a look at current reporting. So who was able to bring samples of what they're kind of currently doing?
This is the most that we have.
Eight?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a couple different, like, we have that one, the one for our playground inspections is similar, it has all the parks and the
Parks,
date that it was
okay.
completed, but that's the extent of what we're doing.
Okay, so managing on spreadsheets. Do you have, so Daniel, is that all done through PeopleSoft for you guys?
The actual compliance, we run a query that lets us know who's late or missing or something like that.
Okay.
It's built and it loads out into a spreadsheet.
Okay, so you end up with a spreadsheet as well?
So it's not very dynamic as far as alerting us or anything like that.
Okay, and you run that, so is that done on sort of a monthly basis kind of thing?
Yes.
And is that like an individual listing
I can show you what it looks
by
like.
people? Oh, you've got one? Perfect.
So I get
Send it
the
out to the department.
So I get the one for my department. and anybody in yellow, anybody in orange is late, and it has their name, their position, their supervisor, and then these are just a list of their missing courses.
Oh, okay. And due dates and things, or just that they're just missing
It has
those?
their hire date, and we just know it's 3 months from when they were hired.
Okay, so as the
far
admin,
as
you
it
just
goes.
know those things.
Yeah.
That's what we all get too for
And
each
so every
specific
department gets
department.
this.
Oh, okay.
I get the same report.
Okay, great. Could you send me a copy of that? And then I'll throw it up on the screen, and then we can I just want to make sure I understand all the pieces of that. So is that kind of the main report that all the departments use in order to try to kind of track?
For the essentials training, yes.
Okay,
It doesn't cover everything, it's just those 10 main courses, yeah.
okay. Are those the 10 main courses of for the city?
Yep.
Okay.
Everybody has to do those.
Okay, great. And their courses, they're not necessarily policies, procedures that they need to be aware of? How do you track the policy procedure stuff that people have?
When you get hired on, there's a new hire checklist that we operate off of.
Okay.
And one of them is you have to sign off on the handbook, but we don't track whether or not, they have to sign off on the handbook and we track whether or not they sign off on it, but we don't go individually by policy right now
Okay.
to say, yes, I'm aware of this.
So the handbook is basically the
It's a
policy,
condensed version of
yeah.
the policy.
and then you slide that into their employee file that they signed off on it in the checklist. Okay. All right. Very good. Okay. Let me just take a quick peek at this departmental one then.
That's the question. How do we Well, that's why we always do it, because then we can just point and say, hey, there's the thing now, it's just you email this policy at this thing.
Do you ever have anybody come in and say, I want to see the training records for so-and-so in the department? Or if an incident occurs, do you need to?
Yeah, so they have the ability to, certain individuals have the ability to look up training records for everybody in their department area.
Okay.
And so they can go in and that's in PeopleSoft. Every employee has the opportunity, or every full-time employee can look up their essentials training record and any other courses that they've taken.
Okay.
Using their MyHR, which is our self-service feature.
Okay. Through PeopleSoft. Okay.
But it's just kind of a list of the positions. There's two different ways you can look it up. There's
So I
a
can
summary
look
page
at a
for the,
person, or I can,
there's a summary page for the essentials training, and then there's an actual
and it has all the
clunky and ugly
trainings in
page
it.
that lists every single course.
The date I took it, and then the date that it expired.
Oh, this is the individual one. Okay.
So supervisor.
That's what's on this same list.
Yeah, supervisor should be able to look at that page for anybody that they're over, if we've given them access. Not every supervisor has that access.
Okay.
For various reasons.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that one's pretty. And then if there were any, so if these courses, so ethics and conduct. So are there certificates for these?
There's certificates for 8 of them.
And those get uploaded? Are they available online if you were, or do they go in the
What that-
file?
If they show as being done, it means that they've been audited by HR and they're valid. There
We
is a
get an
certificate
email copy when
associated
we're
with
done.
it, but the certificate only proves that you passed the quiz that's associated with it.
Okay.
We go in to make sure that they've actually watched, or at least let it run
Yeah.
for a certain amount of time.
They didn't fall asleep and that kind of stuff. Okay, so let's take let me just make sure this one's clear.
Yeah, if it doesn't pass the audit, we let you.
The people in white are new employees, they're not out of date yet, but they need to be working on it.
Okay.
And the people in yellow are out of date.
And I'm assuming name and ID are switched there for whatever reason?
Yep, for whatever reason.
Okay. And then departmental, full-time, part-time, hire date. So why is the hire date important here? Just so you know that they're new or not?
Yeah, the 3 months. Because it's 3 months from when they were hired.
Oh,
or-
okay.
And then every 3 years, so the people that are.
Oh, so you got to need to calculate that?
You have to do it next
Okay.
week.
You,
We just have to know that.
okay. Who their supervisor is. Is the supervisor ultimately responsible for keeping these guys up to speed, or is that HR? Supervisor? Okay. So if you saw that there were a bunch of people here who were quite late, you would actually talk to the supervisor?
Correct.
And they would, okay.
Yeah, so I'll send this to Kathy, and she may have to schedule those people to come in specifically just to work on it.
Do a training session and get them up to speed.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
And then it's just a number of how many are missing, and then a list of which specific person is missing.
Okay. Now for that, so this is a common list here, right? Would it be helpful to be able, so for Kathy, for example, she's going to look at this. So say she had 15, 20 people who, yeah, more.
Yeah.
So for her, now she's got to take this common separated list, figure out, okay, which one am I going to do to make sure I can grab the most people and start getting them up to speed. So if you could bust this out by which courses for her, would that be helpful for scheduling and things like that?
It could be on some, most of these we don't ever do in a group setting, we do it individually. So usually she's just contacting that specific person and saying,
They're all done online.
you need to do these.
Oh, these are all
These are
online.
all
Yeah.
online.
I see. Okay.
Well, they do, people do them in a group setting, though, they just schedule them all together.
Let's get in a classroom, get it done, and
Yeah, they all watch it, and then they have to go in individually and take the quiz.
okay.
We don't generally just because it's a scheduling issue, but
Same with us.
I'm trying to get everybody in the same room.
That other half of your unified department does that.
That's because they have a consistent work schedule. They only work Monday through Thursday, 7 to 6. Lifeguards are a little different.
Okay, and then in terms of ordering and stuff, so this is ordered just, is it by the ID number? Right now? And then you go, okay, and then you guys can just sort it however you want. Okay. All right. Okay, I don't think there's anything on there that I'm not understanding. Okay, any other tools that anybody else is using to manage that kind of stuff? What do you guys call that particular one? The just departmental.
I don't know if we've ever called it anything.
Employee essentials late report.
Yeah,
All right, I just want to catalog it quickly.
Jeff calls it.
yeah,
Employees essentials tracking.
yeah.
And everybody gets that. Okay.
So in PeopleSoft, there's a page that you can load up, and it just lists every course that you've ever taken. So with the Employees Essentials, for example, you have to take it every 3 years. And so you would run a report, it's not a report, it's just opening the page for that person. And it just lists everything. So you'd see that you did sexual harassment training in 2016.
This one?
You'd also,
Is that
no,
the one?
it's outside of that one. And then you'd see it that you also did it in 2013. This page that Kari's showing you is only the most recent one.
Okay.
So that one was specially designed in-house just so you could see
Yeah.
what your most recent one was. But there's a page that lists everything, but it's not really a cool report or even all that much functional. It's just a big old laundry list.
Is that one I can
You possibly, I'm not sure. I'd have to check your.
So that's more of a full employee training history.
Yeah, so
Indiv-
this is where a lot of employees, I don't know a lot, but I know there are employees that would. Sorry, has it up. You would enter in this certificate that you course that I attended, and it would register in there. There's no audit on it, so you can put it in because it's basically whatever you're tracking. And that's where they could go and see everything they did. So I know there are some people department that use this, so that
Mhm.
when they promote or go for promotions, they just pull up this list and they put together their resume through that.
Okay. And then there's a link on here to the actual course. Is
Yes,
that,
and
do
that's
do
just
you have a
brief
master?
description of,
Oh, they put that in as well?
yeah, so
Okay.
it's not, some of them are ones that we put in.
Okay.
So for example, there's a speed of trust, class that people go to, and when we get the attendance, we will insert that for them.
Yep.
Others, it's just ones that they decided to go on their own.
Okay. All right, so it could be either. So some, you've got some and listed and they have
We
some.
could create a query off of that really easily that says, show me everything that so-and-so has done. But generally that doesn't happen.
Okay.
It's more of a self-contained list.
Okay. So for that training history one, what do the employees have to figure out need to that for?
They generally, the only ones that they worry about taking again are the employees essentials, and they go to that first screen that Kari has, or they ask Kari or they ask us.
Okay.
They ask Kari.
Nobody's ever looked at that screen.
Okay, just give me a second. I'm just cataloging. Excuse me, the one that we just went over. All right. Okay, frequency. And how often does that go out? Sorry, the
Once a month.
once a month. Okay.
That's one of our big hopes, is that that report doesn't even necessarily have to be run, they can just be alerted. to it.
Notified. Yeah.
Say, hey,
Yeah.
we got one more week to get this done.
Well, I think it seems like the department heads, they would need to see how well the supervisors' reports are doing, right? So as a department head, you would want to keep track of each supervisor and the people under them to say, oh, looks like John needs some help because
Yes,
his folks are falling
Yeah,
down.
so if you had like a dashboard just for employees essentials where they could, you
Yeah.
know, it shows in red or green or whatever percentages that you showed.
Yeah.
I think that would be very helpful for supervisors, particularly in their area.
I'm specifically for our director taking that report each month and then on a spreadsheet tracking. Kathy has 18 outstanding employees
Yes.
this month.
Yeah.
Bryce has 4.
So if you had that high level of, okay, so Kathy and Bryce are supervisors within your department. Okay, so then it would list all your supervisors and say where their employees sit in terms of percentage or just gross numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could drill into those and see what the actual things were. Okay.
This is all I'm doing is I have all my supervisors and I'm saying on this date, this is how many employees you had outstanding. And then he's using it to track, because when we have a big hire, they're gonna go up.
Oh, for
but
sure.
Are you actually going down or are you staying high?
Yeah, are they getting taken care of, or is it just continually getting worse?
And then he's gonna use that in his evaluation of them each year.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
So-
Yeah, very good. All right. So, and how many, you're spending time doing this
Yes.
each month, week, or whatever?
And it looks actually like mostly, it usually comes out every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Sometimes, but not always.
All right. Okay, I think that's a good opportunity right there.
But also, I would say it would be nice, one of the frustrations we have is that once you get to that 3-year period and you're gonna have to redo it, we don't actually get notified until you're on the bad list.
Yes.
And so it would be nice, because our supervisors are not tracking that for their employees, but if they had that heads up of,
Yeah.
hey, start on it before you're on the bad list.
So that's what, I don't know if you guys remember, but so on the document control stuff, we've got that
So you want
scheduling
60
period.
days
Yeah.
before.
So based on that, we can report out what's coming up. So we do that for, we've got some, we've got different types of report. There's some that are things that are past due, which need immediate attention. Then we've got ones that are hey, this is training that's coming due. And we can bust that out by the type of training, because then that allows you to set up a classroom. If you got 30 people, maybe a classroom is required. If you've only got 2, you just talk to them and get them going. Okay, yeah, I think, we're talking about the, what we want here. So let me take a couple notes here on those. Purpose, so this would be department.
Employees essentials or our department's.
I'm not gonna apologize for that.
So actually, only have to work for 3 months?
Through kids, you don't know how to act in a professional environment.
You'll think it when you get sued.
Yeah.
Organization and training statistics. So we'll do all supervisors.
Been no good for 3 years. Bring it back next year.
So this report is sort of what we're talking about here. So this could be departmental compliance, and then it would list each supervisor, all their employees, and where they kind of sit percentage-wise.
That'd be really nice.
And then you can jump into any of these guys and see which training it is that. Then you can see where they sit. So here's all the on-time stuff, and here's what's past due for this particular employee. So we'll probably need to go, I think, 2 levels for you guys down. But that's kind of what I'm understanding, the kind of thing that we would need. Okay.
I can go to, sorry, Jeff's, spreadsheet over to one of our own, and we just track it that way. Like you guys ever, we just have the date of their first video, when it's due, and then I review it and run a notice before Jeff's notice comes out.
That's very proactive.
Yes, it is. I have to stay on
Yeah, we
top.
haven't quite gotten to that point.
2 years ago, the little flag. Last 3 years, about 2 years.
Daniel, I have a question which might be for you. So Kayant is gonna track the things that aren't required. I realize this is a pipe dream question, but is there any possibility of having something that if you complete a specific certification, it automatically changes your pay rate? If you have pay increase?
If you change a certification.
Like if you complete a certification, then it would automatically create an action to increase your pay.
I don't know, I mean, I'd have to ask Kayant about that, it's probably not right now. If you would have to set up the, I don't know if they have that type of capability right now, but I understand what you're saying, like if you achieve like a certain degree, that, right now the educational assistance policy allows you to get one if you do that.
Like one of ours that we use a lot is if you have a national official certification
Right.
for basketball or volleyball, you automatically get paid more.
That'd be cool. I don't know what to do.
Can just throw me that.
And
That's on his dream list.
okay.
You have a different flavor of that, do you, Tracy?
I just converted his data over to us. It'll calculate when the first one is due.
Oh, okay,
So then I give them a notification about 2 months before it's due.
okay. Give them that notification. You email
Just email,
the
yeah.
guys?
Mhm.
Okay.
That's why their emails are here.
Gotcha. So you just click on that and
Yeah,
it,
cut and paste them over to
okay,
a big email.
all right.
So yeah, again, if the system does that automatically for us,
Yeah.
That would
That would
be,
be
that would be
awesome.
big, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
okay, okay. Oh, no doubt, no doubt.
Every employee's first video.
So, okay, let me. Coming due. All right, so is anybody else using anything else for managing that stuff? Cody, do you have, sorry, go ahead.
Just spreadsheets. We have spreadsheets, but we have our own training docs, but we don't necessarily schedule them as far as this is what's upcoming like them. This is what needs to be completed every year. So as they come about, if we have a annual training on this, is there a way that this can say, okay, you had one on this date in 2015, on this date of 2016, so they can keep an annual or account of when they
Yep.
are updated on those reoccurring trainings?
Yes, exactly. So on the reoccurrence, it'll actually notify the user before it's actually due to give them an opportunity. The reports, you can run the reports as a department and say these are the things coming up. So it will do that for you. So there'll be automatic notifications, and you can also look at pull the reports to see. Anybody? So so is everybody basically keeping a listing, managing it through a spreadsheet, and then emailing the individuals as things need to be done? Is that kind of the process for everybody?
If they're doing it, that's probably how they're doing it.
That's how it's happening. Okay. All right. We'll create a report. Okay. So I think what I'll do, all right, let me think, is there any others that we need to talk about here? Now, do you guys ever get audited for training by the Ministry of, what's the Ministry of Labor? Is it the Ministry of Labor in the US too? Department of Labor? Do they ever, if there's incidents and things like that that involve an employee, a fatality, or
OSHA
would come out and audit?
falls under that, but yeah, they could come out and they could ask for training records for a specific thing, and
Okay. Proof of certification of the whoever got injured, that kind of stuff.
We don't generally get audited, but we do go to those records frequently for when there's incidents that occur, whether they're accidents or whether there's disciplinary action.
So internal, basically an internal kind of audit.
Internal audit, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
We do have this other one that we use, this is for our safety meetings, and we have a safety program where you have a meeting once a month, and then so we're coming in here marking that they attended, and then we have a safety incentive program, and so it's tallying, you have to get at least 80%, and then it gives you your
Oh, okay.
your incentive kind of thing. So
And those are the safety meetings? So let me just show you that. I don't have it online, but I've got one here. And do all departments do those safety meetings? I'm imagining you do, Cody, yeah?
we do not.
Brett is with Power.
Oh, okay, I'm guessing you do the safety meetings too, yeah? And work observations and those types of things, like go out and supervisors in the field, crew visits, that kind of stuff?
Do that.
No? Okay, so let me,
Staff is supposed to do that.
So let me just show you, because I think what you just showed me looks very similar to what we have, and I think we can make a flavor of this for that. Profile. Here we go. Okay. So this is an overall kind of performance report, and it pulls in data from all those accidents and incidents that are occurring on a month-to-month basis. And it pulls in a bunch of statistics based on, you know, all that information you collect from that incident sheet that we looked at on the first day. So there's also a section for work observations and inspections here. And here's the safety meetings section. So overall, and this can be run by department, so this would be the department level, number of safety meetings, any actions that came out of those safety meetings that needed to be taken care of, the number that were completed, and the ones that are left outstanding, which is kind of like your tally of the training stuff that gets left over each month.
So is that a canned report, or could a department customize that or configure that to just say, I want to see these 10 things, and I have no interest in JH and SC or whatever that is? Can they do that?
Yeah, we would build. This one was built kind of specifically for the for a utility. So these things will be different than what we do for you guys.
But is that
Not
something
conf-
that you have to set up?
We'd change it up, the template up for you guys.
For one template for the whole city though, or can each
Oh,
department have their
sorry.
own template?
No, we can do it. We can do it departmentally. Yeah. Yeah.
I would think we'd want the same kind of safety. I think it would apply for us.
I'm going to guess probably 90% of the content that each department's going to need is going to be the same.
Right. More administration departments don't do safety meetings.
Right. Yeah. Well, theirs
The
would.
ones that aren't
They
out.
just wouldn't run it, right? It would just be empty for them. Now I
It'd be
think.
nice to, in the future, to be able to have that ability to sort of say, I want this report, but I only want to see these things.
Yeah, to make it complete.
Extremely,
For
helpful.
yeah, the report framework that we use right now doesn't have that end user interface like that. It's more like in PeopleSoft, I think they use Crystal reports, right? Which
Right.
takes a little bit of technical ability to manipulate it, right? That's a lot like the front end we have for ours.
Right.
So now, not to say we're not going to change that for the future. Now.
Thinking of things though to make it better.
Oh yeah, no, for sure, for sure. So this is similar to, this one's for observations, but here's the inspection section right here. So this would be your people, I think similar to what you've got there, Kari. And then each month, we've got the number they should, their target basically here, whether they hit it or not. We can color code these as well to make it a little more, stand out if they're behind schedule or whatever. And then just totals at the end. And then you can actually see by each quarter where you end up sitting here. So if you wanted to tag, I mean, this has done a lot of the work for you, and then you could add this into your, the program for the additional, incentives, and it does the same for work observations, crew visits, and that kind of stuff. A lot of people mandate how many you're supposed to do on a quarterly basis and that kind of stuff. So I think they're very close. We're probably very close on these to what you guys are doing right now. So is it just Parks and Rec and Public Works? Okay. Yeah. Fire and police, do you guys have anything like that for? Yeah? No? Do you guys do safety talks and stuff like that? No? Okay.
Every day is a safety.
Every shift is a safety talk, yeah? Okay.
I know fire has a lot of training records. I've seen it once though, where I think it's just a spreadsheet that would be helpful, I think, for you to talk to them or somebody
Who's there was somebody from fire here at the beginning, no? The first day. Schofield.
So you may wanna reach out to them and ask them some of those questions, but they have a pretty intensive training program.
Yeah. So I imagine similar to the police. So was that Daniel Schofield? Lynn Schofield? Sorry.
The other person there that would be involved would be Debbie Honeycutt.
Okay.
I know that they've moved, fires recently moved to Lexipol. I think they're using Lexipol for a lot of this.
Usually
Tracking or training.
policies. I didn't know if
They're doing internal training as well. At least that's what they talked about in the initial meetings. They talked about doing Lexipol. They were gonna create internal, this is how you connect to a fire department. And then you have a video and some questions. They would have their input going. Things that way to kind of track all that. At least they talked about it, they're still doing it.
So we've got. So what about in Public Works and Energy? Do you guys, there's a bunch of like confined space certs and all that kind of stuff, right? How are you guys keeping up to date on those? Working at heights and.
We just did the training, there's no certification for it.
Okay.
Because they're not, they're restricted, you don't have to be certified for this.
Okay.
You just have to have the training.
Just take the
They're not
training.
Met required.
Okay. And then how often does that need to be renewed? Like, and I know there's a bunch of the different ones, but.
I believe confined space is every year, manually.
Once a year, okay. And so how do you do that training? Is that, do you send them out? Does somebody come in or?
We just go over the testing equipment and then watch a video.
Okay. All done here?
Typically in-house.
In-house?
Somebody within the department, you've got both, on obviously all three departments, Parks and Recreation, Energy, and Public Works, you're gonna have confined space and lots of different
Yep.
OSHA type trainings that need to be done on an annual basis or on a every other year. And those are typically done in-house, usually by the safety officer within the department or a supervisor within the department.
We're actually buying this, so we'll have that coming in.
Right?
So you have a spreadsheet of the guys who have got to take the confined space, and then you basically set up a sign-in sheet. Everybody comes, and you just let them know, and they all come, and then that's done.
We'll have a roll, and whoever's there signs it.
Okay.
I don't know if we have a spreadsheet, but we have a roll.
Okay. And then, so I mean, are you guys confident you're getting everybody, or some people sick that day, or?
If they're sick that day, they won't get the training till
So you're going to have some guys who have missed it then, right?
And our department, like, I've had some guys that miss it and then go to a different section to take it.
Gotcha. Okay. But you could have some that slip through the cracks, right? I'm just trying to get a feel for that. Okay. All right.
Kind of piggybacking with that, jumping back to your question about like if OSHA shows up because there's a workplace fatality
Right.
or a major injury, and they ask us for these types of records. Right now, it's upon the safety officer within the department to track of those and be able to produce
Produce them at,
to me and
yeah.
OSHA if there was an issue.
Right.
And it's very difficult at this, right now with the systems we have right now, that if it's occurring, I know we had last year, I want to say last year, might have been 2 years ago, we had OSHA come out on an incident. And we know we had the training, but we had no record.
Yeah.
Which OSHA then says it never happened.
That's right. Yeah.
Having something that can help us track that, I know would be beneficial for me. I believe that.
Well, give peace of mind for these guys, right? So, okay, so on that, so the way you do it, so you do the sign-offs, the sign-in sheet, and then you take, does that get physically filed in a file cabinet in your office?
Most all my stuff.
Is paper, okay, all right.
Mine's terrible.
So I have 3 different ways to track.
But I know where it's at.
We have a outside source, we do online training.
Okay,
I go in there and get spreadsheets. Which groups completed what training, which individual. Then I have another one that, when I enter it, then I also scan all the documentation, the handouts, any material we pass out, what kind of training.
yeah.
I scan all that, and then that's on record.
They catalog that, they keep that electronically for you?
If I pull up confined space training, I can pull up what we had for handouts a year ago.
Okay.
2 years ago,
Perfect,
and there's reminders.
okay.
I also keep a spreadsheet with those 2 trainings or those 2 companies combined.
What are those two companies called?
One is Vivid Training, and then the other one's J.J. Keller.
J.J. Keller, okay.
VIVID. That's what someone said. VIVID.
Yeah.
And do they actually produce the content? Do they produce the content too, or do you create the training content?
They create it.
They have that? Okay.
Similar to, like in our Employee Essentials, BLR just produces it and we access it. It's a hyperlink to a video.
Yep. Okay.
That's how we track it. For basically.
This is employee name?
Mhm.
Okay. Can I keep these?
Yes.
Can I mark them up?
Yeah.
Okay. So each year, oh, okay, so you've got, this is the training that they need to take.
Yep.
Okay, gotcha. And then the dates they take it.
That's for your supervisors,
Yep.
and then just your crew member, line work, or whatever. They have to do all this.
Safety meetings.
And
Okay.
These guys have to sign off on it.
Yep.
You know, like if they're out, do they wear their proper, you know, their PPI?
Yep.
PPE?
Yep.
Well, I'm not always there, but their managers is,
This
so he's
is-
gotta say yes
yep.
or no.
So this is, so for us, we call that kind of the, for the tailgate meeting. Okay, perfect, yeah.
But see, right now, we have to go back and get all the stuff
Yeah.
that they took the class, then we have to write this in, and then I have to give it to these guys to get their incentive.
Yeah,
So if we had
That's-
something,
that pulls that all together for you. Yep, okay.
Actually, right now, the high command is UN.
Oh, yeah, okay.
They actually will do that.
That's true.
Now, sorry, Janet, you had these same forms, right? Is that true?
I just had this one.
Okay,
she's got one.
okay. And then does everybody use these, Cody? Every department? No?
Just,
Okay, all right,
that's similar, but
okay. So, energy, just public works, okay. Sorry, I just need a few minutes to catalog these, or just mark it so I can catalog it later. Does every have the incentive programs for to make sure? No? Okay.
Safety incentives is only 3 departments.
That's right. So Parks and Rec, Energy and Public Works? Okay.
Just the people that get hurt a lot.
Yeah. The higher risk. Well, and that is exactly how it works. It's funny, we did, everybody looks at risk, do an evaluation, everybody says, okay, well, these are our 10 highest risk activities that we do as an operation. And generally, like in utilities and public works and parks and recs and stuff, it's all the stuff that people are doing outside, they're high up, they're, whatever. So there's usually 10. There was one operation that we did, they went through a risk assessment process, and it ended up that their office workers, because they put a lot of controls in place for all those other things, the ergonomic impact for the office workers was actually their highest risk in the organization. Yeah, it was pretty. It was a bit of a wake-up call. So a lot of that is actually coming into play now. Companies are putting in sort of programs where the office is largely impacted, and you've got the desk where you can stand and all those things, all those impact. Okay. All right. Are there any?
yeah, I don't get a lot of emails.
All right, have we got any, has anybody else got any like forms that they track training or anything like that that I don't have?
Mine is like the simplest spreadsheet. Mostly ours isn't so much training as just policies and making sure all staff are updated on policies.
Yep.
So it's just a list and literally.
No, when I say, when I say training, I mean policies, procedures,
Right.
all that stuff. So yeah.
Simpler than even some of the,
Well, simple is good. I like simple.
it's just, yeah, it's really simple.
I want to make sure, so what I want to make sure that I can cover off as many of you guys, like I'm going to find out what the components are that are common to everybody's, and then we can build off of that, just to make sure that everybody's going to be covered by the reporting that we do put together for the implementation. So probably the way this is going to work is I'm going to go back, look at the requirements that you guys have, look at what you're currently doing, and I'm going to build basically a report prototypes for that. So some of them we're going to obviously pretty much have, because they're going to be very similar to other clients that we're working with. And then for the other ones we're going to put together, this is what we're proposing. That'll all come back to you guys, and you guys will go through a process of verification and saying yes, no. And then we'll refine them down so that come implementation time, they'll be in place for you guys to start using right away. So anything you're using right now, whether you think it's too simple, too complicated, make sure I know about it, because then we can.
Also a new one that we just started this last year.
How
for
many
our
do you
OSHA.
have?
I know. But this is specifically saying, these are yearly, every 2 years, and this is us tracking when we last taught it, and when we're scheduled to retrain on it.
Oh, okay.
So, but
All
then
your
the
OSHA
actual
stuff.
like people that trained on it, those are just a sign-in sheet kind of thing that we have to go track down.
So you you're not necessarily, so you are tracking towards OSHA, right? The OSHA stand. You are actually, that is your,
Yeah, OSHA is kind of our standard.
yeah, yes, okay, to the act, right? So that, yeah.
It's probably more, I don't know, I think we use it more as a guideline than a requirement.
It sounds like it's a category for you guys, right? Do these things fall under OSHA or not?
And OSHA doesn't, one of the difficult things when you say the standard that we fall under, OSHA doesn't typically put out a requirement of this training.
It's
every
yeah,
this
yeah.
amount of time. It kind of leaves it open to interpretation, which we internally, between myself
Yeah, we
and the
did
department
city
director,
recommended.
we determine this is
How we
want
comply,
to
yeah, how you cover the act. So you've really created your own OSHA standard to comply with the act, essentially. Okay.
And basically, the compliance, health and safety is much more robust in Parks and Recreation
Yes.
than it is the tracking.
Yes.
Than it is in the other two departments. They do a very good job of trying to track and keep records. This new program will help
Yeah.
energy Parks and Recreation.
Yeah. Okay.
And it will take away a lot of Kari's work.
Yeah, Jenny's.
It'll make her job easier.
Because I'm thinking that down the road, initial implementation, but I think we should think about mapping in a standard for all these things that you're doing towards OSHA. We can set up the regulatory side of this, so you can actually measure how well you're doing against that. So you could so the degree to which your employees, well, all the employees that do stuff that's related to that you're tracking towards OSHA, if they're only doing 30% of those and 100% of all the other stuff, you probably need to change your training program, right? So if we can measure that, I think that'll put you guys in a really good spot. So I think that'll be sort of afterwards, like that'll be the regulatory side of it that we can implement after. We'll get it all in there first to make sure it's all being tracked and distributed and all that good stuff, and then map it to that, because I think that would be very helpful for you guys.
You know what, and as we talk about that too, I mentioned just the 3 departments are doing this, but actually, as Dick walked out, facilities, which falls under administrative services, they also do
Yeah.
much of this training because their guys are
Yeah.
more out in the field.
Yeah, exactly.
So that is another component.
Yeah. Because there's going to be a lot of similarity between all. There's going to be a bunch that are in all for those departments, right?
Right.
That we can consolidate and actually manage in here, all under one roof, but you know, you can actually keep individually in your departments. Okay, that's good. That's good.
We do,
Look how pretty yours is.
we do in-service tracking, but it's not like compliance or mandatory stuff, but it's stuff that we'd like them to be trained. I mean, some of it is.
Okay.
That aren't required, like the red means they're not required. So I can see this working into the
Mhm.
thing easily.
Yeah.
And then we get percentages of like how well we're doing over the year. Like that's more what we're concerned about meeting a goal.
So this is very to the training matrix that we showed earlier, right? So you've got your folks, and then the things that,
Dates that they
yeah, we have
to-
white. Ours are white, the ones that they're not required for, and then either a green or a red, whether they're up to date or not. We don't
Okay.
put the dates in ours though, but that's something we could do.
Oh, we don't need the dates. I just,
Okay. The
Yeah.
event, which you won't have to do anymore because the system will do it for you.
yeah. This is like our in-service throughout the year, and it's everyone's
Okay.
average of attendance. Like if they're kind of low, we want to be looking at why you're not getting to your
Yep.
in-service, you know. But it's not a, I mean, sometimes they can't go because of scheduling or staffing issues. So
But at least you're
it's
aware
not-
of.
Not anything that they're penalized for.
Yeah, but
they
you
are-
need to accommodate it in some way to get it done, right? Okay, so, yeah, this is very, can you send
mean-
me a copy? Is there any confidential stuff in here that I can't
that I
look at?
can think of.
Okay,
We total it by officers so they know how well they're doing, and then also total it by topics, so we know how well the topic is being covered in our department. So
and the topics on the first sheet were across the top.
I haven't.
Well, the nice thing, so how much of your time are you spending generating and keeping on
It's-
top of this?
It's a fair amount.
Yeah.
I have a system that I record the hours in,
Yeah,
but I'm the link between that system and this.
And
I
this.
I can't process a report out of that system that gives me this.
because I think the great thing, or one of the good things that's going to happen when we get this implemented for you is all this and all those spreadsheets you guys are managing manually and calculating and all that stuff is going to be done for you. You just run it and it's there. So then you can actually, instead of spending your time accumulating the thing, you can actually just act upon what's going on and go, oh geez, 47%, that's not good. We need to. You can actually be the nice thing for you guys, I think, as administrators. There'll be less administration, decision making, and strengthening your training programs. Okay. So yeah, if you could send me,
Oh,
but I only want the pretty ones. Only the prettiest of the pretty spreadsheets that you have. Okay. So, but I think for you, we should take our conversations offline because it's not going to really come into play for most folks here for all the scorecard stuff, and we can do that after the fact. Okay, what time do we have here? 10. Why don't we take a bio break, and that'll give me a chance to document some of this stuff. And then after that, I'm going to see if there's any other reports I can show you that will kind of help frame whether those are things you want to track or not track. But we're getting pretty close to completing everything we needed to cover. So that's great. Did you, Elizabeth, did you send me your...
So you-
Now, is it color coded? Because I...
No.
Oh.
I have other spreadsheets that I collect.
Well, we actually use colors a lot in the system because visually, when you see something red, you go, oh, I need to pay attention. So we tend to have the graphing that does the percentage stuff. If you're under, what do we do for red? If you're under, I think it's 75%, you're red. If you're between 75 and 90, at 75 and 100, you're yellow, and then 100, you're green. So that kind of, And then on the training matrix, right, it's red, green, and it's kind of like, oh, what's going on here? You see a bunch of red and you go, oh, we need to pay attention to this, what's going on. So we use it all over the place. So red is bad, yellow could be bad,
Yeah.
and green is okay. Exactly. Yeah. Maybe we'll talk a bit about, when we get back, what your employees would need access to, what would be good for them to see on their side, like an employee report suite, like their history, like what Daniel does for through the HR portal would probably be good, and yeah, we'll go through that. Yes, sir.
So, this may not be applicable at all, but just in brainstorming with customer service, we run a call center. And on an individual basis, we do monthly scorecards for their performance.
Okay.
A lot of this pertains to their training, so saying, okay, you have had a training on utility billing, you understand whatever, how to set someone up with utility services.
Okay.
Or disconnect their whatever. And then we have their phone stats and things that are measurable. So this is the current reporting that we have on a per person basis, but it's so granular that it goes down to their talk time, their calls per hour. Would that be applicable here or on a separate?
I don't think so.
Okay.
You could distribute it through ours if you wanted people to be required to review this on a monthly basis as you distribute it.
I do.
And then that would just help you track that they actually are aware of what's going on in the department.
Okay.
But in terms of like your call center stats,
Right.
we wouldn't collect any of
So
that.
reporting, when you talk reporting, I just want to make sure that we're on the same level. This is our kind of reporting that we
Yeah.
do, but it's different than the reporting that you're talking about.
Yeah, no, the reporting I'm talking about is to do with, like, when you say you rolled out a new training item for the utility billing setup or whatever, and you wanted to make sure everybody got trained on that.
Okay.
That would go into our system,
reporting
distributed
of the
through them,
training.
of that they got that training.
So
That's
that makes
what
more
we would
sense.
do.
And currently all we're doing is we have a sign-off sheet that we physically have them sign like this. This roll
Yep.
is attendance. It says, yes, I attended the training. Then there is a section on there that they can say, I need or I want more training on this,
Yep.
or I understand the content.
Need
So
assistance or whatever. Yeah.
We can then upload that into this. Okay.
So we'd set up a training item for that specific thing, and then you could, if you wanted to do it in class and just do the sign-in sheet, you can. There's a quick administrative tool that you just bang add the people, load the sign-in sheet in as the proof, and put the date in, and you're done, and then it signs everybody off automatically. Or you could have them. Now, can some of the training be delivered electronically?
You know, we're working towards that in the future. Right now, it is an actual classroom.
Yep.
It's once a month classroom. Here's the topic.
Okay.
And my supervisors that I leave them in charge of conducting that training on a monthly basis. The content of that, we have kind of a structure of saying, okay, here are the training modules that you can go through.
Yep.
And then, so every year they'll go through a street banner training. So when the season comes to hang street banners, they know what they're talking about.
Yeah, so perfect. That would be an item in ours, street banner training.
Okay.
Could be classroom or whatever, and that would come up that it's going to be due at a certain time. You'd get that notification as well, or whoever's going to be the supervisor for it. They set it up, grab the sign-in sheet at the end, and bang it all in, so you've got proof that they all took it. Now, if over time you move to a more electronic type delivery, so we can handle video, documentation, external, if you've got one of the courses set up with an external vendor. You can do an online test where you integrate video and stuff
So
in.
we do online tests or quizzes. We do like class marker type
Yep.
quizzes. We'll do those kinds of things. We'll push those out. We used to use Dropbox. I don't do that anymore.
So we can set those up in ours. So you can do your delivery of the content, and then you can do a quiz after, and they can actually do that on their own time. And it'll notify them the quiz is due, and they take it, and then you'll get results as to whether they passed, failed. You can do analysis on those quiz questions. And you can say, hey, why are we getting 60% of the people are getting this question wrong? We need to either change the content because it's not being understood, or the question's not clear. So you get those kind of stats back.
Awesome.
So I think that would be helpful for what you're doing. So what I,
Monthly safety training as well.
Yep.
Which it's very minimal, but it's read the questions and answer the 5 questions.
Yep.
Read the content, answer the 5 questions.
you could automate all that, and they get notified, and then you get results. So all those things that we're talking about here, those would be training items in our.
Yeah.
Would be some. Would be
So
that.
that's what I'm
would-
working on. I just want to make sure that in addition to that, there's
No,
this.
not that kind of stuff.
Because this is so intricate.
Yep.
Each item here points to a completely separate spreadsheet. I didn't know.
Yeah. No, that's really your call center stats, right? And we don't manage that kind of
I
stuff.
didn't figure.
Yeah. Cool.
The other question you mentioned, another piece. So the training module, if they come into a class, could I pass around like a tablet or something and say, here's the sign-in sheet, and have them do it that way virtually, and then have that could be their sign-off automatically, that you just submit that. Rather than a physical sign-off sheet, they say, okay, this person did, now this person says they need more training, they did attend. Eliminate that manual process.
We have the electronic sign off for that. What we do have is you can generate a sheet automatically, everybody who's supposed to attend, and then they sign against their name, so it saves you a little bit of time, but we don't have the automatic classroom type sign off. But that's something that I'll put it in as a gap, and then we'll see if we can integrate that for implementation.
I mean, very simple, just something. Here are the people that are supposed to be in attendance to this
Auto
training.
signing, yeah.
Check your name or check
Yep.
a box or whatever next to your name.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's because we do have that capability on a bunch of the forms. We have so on the crew visits and the work observations and inspections, you can add and remove people who participated and or were part of this whole thing. So we have the capability there. We just haven't done it for the training items. There's a gap because I think a lot of people could use that.
Okay, that'd be great.
Yep. Sorry, Elizabeth.
Okay.
Morning, Gary. How are you, sir?
Good. You'll be done this afternoon?
I think we'll be done this morning. Yeah, we're ahead of schedule, so where are you going to be at this morning? Can I?
I'm heading back over to the panic room. I just do other meetings.
Okay. All right. So I'll maybe give you a call then once we kind of wrap up here, and I'll come meet you. And
Yeah, let me give you.
my phone here. Yes, I've got. So the cell, I'll call you on that then. If not, is Tony Lynn over there? I'll come over there and.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Or my office.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll do that, sir. Yeah, I think we'll be wrapping up pretty early.
Jason.
Yes, sir.
Kind of posing to you and Gary, if I can, and I don't know who to appropriately ask this question to, but as we've been going over this, I've had a lot of hit and miss with the safety people from the departments actually being present. Is there an ability to have at another time, maybe down the road as things get closer and we've got some things more set up with what Provo has, to have a morning meeting where I make sure that I've got, like Brett from Energy didn't get to see
key
any of the
guys.
inspection stuff.
Yeah.
That we don't currently have and don't currently do. As I was talking to Brett about it and trying to sell him on it, he said, well, I'd have to really see it, and I don't know if my department director will buy off on it. And so I'd love to be able to have a meeting, even if it's a virtual meeting where you're back home and we can just have you on the screen
Yeah.
and you can go through this
Yeah.
and show and make sure I've got people from the key safety individuals from those departments so that they can see this, see the genius behind it, and hopefully buy in on it. Because this is health and safety compliance, from what I understand.
Yes.
That's
That's where we
expertise.
that's where we come from. That's exactly
And
right.
that's and we've had a few conversations here and there, but most of the conversations have been you and I,
Yeah.
because the other guys are like, oh, this is, I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's
I don't
not
know
my,
any of
my
this.
thing,
I
yeah.
don't know. So they disappear, my safety guys disappear, and then everybody else that doesn't care are
Cody was on
here.
his way out the door.
Yeah.
So no, I think that's great, and I
That would
think
be
what we
very
can do,
helpful for me.
because what I had set up here was not specific to the health and safety aspect of it, right? It was more tracking, making sure we can cover all the departments and that kind of stuff. So what we can do, we've got a ton of utility customers and some, DWQ, the drinking water quality standard guys. We got those as well. So we can set up specific content that will show how it's being utilized and what they're actually doing. Because I think for Brett, it would be huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he just hasn't seen it
He
to
doesn't-
go, oh,
right.
yes, of
Yeah.
course. Right?
Having seen it, and I've been to other public utilities and seen stuff that they've created in-house that is similar, but not as
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
as what you've got. And so I see the genius behind it, but getting them to buy in and understand it, I
Yeah.
think would be very key. Because I know, like in Parks and Recreation, again, they have a much more robust system. But in their safety manual, they've got confined space X, and they've got it, and they have a picture of it, and or they've got we need to be doing yearly inspections on eye washing stations. We need to be doing yearly inspections on this, and quarterly on that. And,
Yeah.
and looking at our risers and different things, which would be helpful. And you've got this.
Yes.
To be able to put in there, here's my email reminder, time for me as the safety officer to go check
Yeah.
this item.
Yeah.
And while I'm there on my iPad checking this item, I'm going to snap a picture of it. This is
Yeah.
what it looks like on this date, this time, complete my inspection,
Done.
saved,
Yeah.
gone, and
Yeah.
life's good. If I can, yeah, that would be super helpful.
No, I see exactly what you're saying, and I think that was kind of not the core idea of what we were going to present this time. So I think you're
Yeah.
exactly right. We need to get those guys in,
And then we can bring somebody else from, I don't know whether we bring Doug, or who,
Yeah.
would we bring Jenny?
Yeah.
Probably Doug and Jenny.
And maybe Thomas.
So I'd switch up who came.
well, why don't we
from some of the
coordinate
people
that?
that were
Yeah,
here.
yeah. We're going to be talking to about because for all the scorecard reporting and stuff that you need,
Yeah.
because nobody else, I don't think anybody else in this room cares.
Cares.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. That's right. Because you got pretty
This is
fired
cool to
up when
me,
you
and-
started seeing that stuff, right?
Yes.
Um,
And everybody else turned off. What is this?
What's going on? So I think you're exactly right. We got to cover those things, which are all fed by the accumulation of what these guys, because they're collecting the data in the field, right?
Correct.
For
should be,
for you to have that.
hopefully.
Well, right.
Well, that's
So
the
let's
problem.
get that
And
there.
currently, today, it's a hopeful. I don't have a clue.
Well, and that's the scary thing, right?
Mhm.
And that's what we're going to tighten
It
up
is,
with this
totally.
system. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you can produce a list of who
Should be
be
there.
in that meeting, maybe you're gonna call it maybe it's gonna be your monthly safety meeting,
Mhm.
and then
Yep.
coordinate a time.
Coordinate, you and I.
We can get that on the schedule and get your room,
Yeah.
Okay.
but, about how many people are you thinking probably be in that group?
I'd say less than 10,
Okay.
depending on how many directors I may need to pull in to make sure we've got buy-in
From
top of the
top,
department.
yeah, it's probably that's a good call.
If it's, and then you'd have a specific demo, you could go
Yep.
through it and just say. this
Very
is-
specific to that.
So one of the concerns a little bit is that we're not as big as your product sometimes looks like it's designed for.
Mm-hmm.
And so if it can be tailored to fit that group.
Yep.
So they just say, well, that's for some larger company.
Yeah. We'll say we'll do it so it's very specific to them, and they won't be able to say that.
One of the other challenges you'll probably face as you present to this group is we internally, a couple of years ago, maybe 2-3 years ago, we tried to create
Matt, they're not going
a
to meet this
program, they called it POP,
They're not gonna meet
and it was intended to try and help with some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Departments put a lot of time and effort into it.
Yeah.
It was a complete dud. It
Yeah.
was worthless.
Yeah.
So there's
That'll give me
a
time
little
to
bit of
catch up on everything
hesitancy
else.
Sure.
to try and get into something.
That'll be a
So
plus.
Yep.
that was one of the things I was trying to explain to Brett is I said, compliant science, this is what they do.
Mhm.
They work with public utilities
Yeah.
in this area for health and safety.
Yeah.
He's like, well, so I know that will be another obstacle that will, because we tried doing it and failed, so there's hesitancy to buy in.
We run into that almost every single time, right? Because people have their internal systems that they're working. There's a lot of hesitancy as well, because when you start looking at this kind of thing where scorecards and things are coming out, people start worrying, well, am I going to be scrutinized now because I'm not doing some things that I should have been doing in the past? Like, those kinds of things all come out, and it becomes
Another one of Brett's
right.
comments,
So we tend to be able to get around all that stuff pretty well. Just over the years, we've been able to talk to that.
Dave Decker in that meeting, Travis in that meeting,
Yeah.
so they can feel
Definitely.
Yes.
Dave has expressed
Have
an
Dave in
interest
here,
to really
yes.
be involved.
Yeah.
But timing-wise, when is it best for this to occur before, as we move along the project?
Well, I think we need to do it pre-implementation to get good buy-in. So I would suspect, I think what would be good is if we did it sooner than later, just to get it introduced so people.
I can see him come back and say, okay, this into the system, let's add some more data, let's add our stuff in, which
Mhm.
they hadn't been before. So that's what I'm thinking, is before you actually do too much configuration.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm not even going to start on the configuration till we figure out the time. Do we have a rough timeline for the HR product yet? Like just in general?
Well, we're supposed to go live October 2nd.
October 2nd? Okay. All right, so that gives us time in between now and October 2nd to do that. And we can even, if you and I want to work together and maybe put together some sample data of the things that need to be tracked,
Yeah,
we can get a demo going that actually represents your stuff.
that would be great.
And-
I'll
and-
get that from them.
Yeah.
Like the CDL walk around every morning on big trucks.
Yeah.
We could.
So if
I
we
could
do
get you
that,
their data, and you could put it up there and say.
then it's
"Here's
applicable
your check."
immediately. Yes,
Boom, boom,
exactly.
boom.
Exactly.
Save, and it's done, and
Yeah.
everybody knows it's done.
So if you two will coordinate, and Bud can.
Yeah, we'll do that.
All I'm gonna do is kind of manage, I don't think your people are involved in the other parts of the project,
Yeah.
so I don't see
Agreed.
too much conflict, but if we can set that up and make sure we have a room available for you.
Okay.
Do you have Skype in your conference room? Or do you have a projector?
Possibly, we have a projector, so I would
All right, so
imagine
you're
we could make it
Yeah.
Skype
Okay.
Okay.
or any other type of meeting.
So we'll make sure. Do I have your contact stuff?
I'll
Make
get you a
sure-
card.
yeah, perfect. All right.
Jason, question for you, like on the safety component, like a lot of our guys, like that sheet that
Was that
Cody
for me?
has.
Is that a check? Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice.
Sorry,
Thanks.
Cody's, yeah.
Thank you.
Like,
So you're
they'll
thinking
fill out the role per se and send it to him. Is there a way, like, when we go in, we can update it here and it will automatically, like Cody has access to that, so he can update his master report per se? Like, if we had a safety meeting, rather than me sending the information to him for him to input, could I input it?
Yeah.
And then he'll have access to
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Just go in and, like, pull up a certain area, because I know, like, we have several divisions, and they'll do their own safety meetings, not necessarily with him there, but then they send him the information. So could they each area
Yes.
just go in and put in their own information and he'll be
So
able to see
we
it?
would probably set Cody up as the sign-off.
Right.
So as soon as whoever put it in
Mm-hmm.
is done, they click, I'm approving that we've entered it, and then it would notify Cody that, hey, this,
Oh, so it would give him a notification?
yeah.
Oh, I like that. I
and then
think
he'll
would like
he'll
that
have an
too.
approval an approval sign-off to say,
Okay.
okay, I agree, this is all good. So he'll
Okay.
get notified.
Okay, I think that would be really good for us.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we have a lot of people and we have different buildings. We're not all in one central building. We're all in-
Oh, for
we're in-
distributed operations, yeah, this
Yeah.
is great because everybody has access now. You're not emailing stuff and then recataloging it, and
Mhm.
it's that stuff is a pain. And really, Cody, I mean, he's just overseeing, right? So he
Right.
just needs to be in the know and then
Right.
run his aggregate reports to make sure, all the departments
Right.
did theirs, and
I
yeah.
think that would be super helpful for us.
Set those meetings and the work observations up similarly, because I'm assuming Cody doing the crew visits and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff for, do you guys do that for like your crews? Do you go out and have supervisors go out and make sure?
They're supposed to, yes.
We're gonna say yes. We're gonna
Yes.
call that a
And
yes.
those are supposed to too. Yes.
Yeah.
We are running into that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So that is, I think, one area that we struggle is just tracking, I think we get done more.
So if you had notifications and you had
Oh,
tracking,
that would be super
Yeah.
helpful.
yeah, because it'll do both those. It'll notify, hey, there's a crew visit that you need to do, and then it'll track whether, because we can do a scorecard like this where it's got the target. You got to do 6 crew visits per
Yeah.
year or whatever, and you can run those, and that can be part of your meeting content. But that you look at that stuff and go over it and say,
It's
okay,
also
we're
good
not
too, 'cause
keeping
I've
up.
had people come and they'll say, have I attended enough safety meetings for the safety incentive or whatever, and if, you know, their supervisor has access to that.
And you always say no. You say, no, you can never attend enough safety meetings.
I'll remember that. I'll remember that.
Yeah, right. Be part of what's available to the employees
Right.
through
Yeah,
the
like
employee
a
reports.
Employee portal, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would be really helpful for them.
They'll want to see, their training history and where they sit, and they'll want access
The
to
trick is getting
that.
them on board to doing it, because a lot of guys that are in the field, you know, I mean, if they have access to their iPads, which from what I understand they will,
Mm-hmm.
they're more likely to, but it's hard to get them to sometimes come in and do it. They'll usually call me and say, hey, will you look this up for me? Or
Yeah.
if they had access to it, that would be really nice.
Well, that's when you got to say, well, actually, you have access to all that stuff.
Yeah, you
I-
should see the look I get
You
when
should
I
say,
tell them stuff
I don't
like
have
that.
access to your
They
materials.
look
Yeah,
at me
no,
like,
no.
well, just do it.
That's difficult, right? It is difficult
Yeah.
to cut that over.
If you're moving things over like their walk around, their morning
Right.
walk around on
Yeah.
the truck, if it's accessed in the same manner
Mhm.
as this portal, then all of a sudden they're gonna be very
I
comfortable
agree.
with it and they won't bug you as much.
Yeah.
We can just get them on board.
Yeah.
That's the tricky
Getting
part.
to that point.
And I think getting the supervisors on board is the key to that, right? Because
Yeah.
usually
Oh, it
it's
is.
those guys who are going to be able to sell it to the
trickle-down effect.
exactly. So the supervisors have definitely got to be bought in. And I think for the supervisors, the good thing is that they don't have to now be accumulating all this data. They can just run a report
Right.
and go, am I doing the walkarounds and the tailgates and all those things that I'm supposed to? And
Which
the answer
nice.
is
I
yes.
mean, who wants to push around more paper? If you can alleviate that, that helps a ton, because I can't tell you how many times too, they fish through things, oh wait, I know I have that here, and they've got it at their fingertip, that's much better.
Well, and I think that's the scary thing for in Bud's position is that the paper gets lost,
Right.
misfiled,
Misplaced.
thrown away by accident. All those things occur, and come time when somebody's knocking on the door,
OSHA shows up.
you're in a very
Right, 'cause we
tough.
have- if we can't produce it, it didn't happen.
And in some cases, that's the difference between a $5,000 fine and $180,000 fine because you can't produce 3 pieces of paper. Like those are the things that happen.
So fortunately and unfortunately, because we're a government entity, OSHA cannot fine us.
Oh, really?
Oh, is that work that way here?
It does in the private sector, but because we're a government entity, they cannot fine
Yeah, I
Ah.
can see what you say,
So
fortunately
it's
and
fortunate.
unfortunately.
us.
But it's a
unfortunate
disincentive to,
because
Right.
yeah,
Why do I need
Because
to
there's
do this?
no-
They're not gonna fine us.
Yeah.
the sanctions
There's
aren't
no-
there.
There's no consequence.
So
Yeah.
the most that ends up happening typically is we just end up working with OSHA and
Yeah.
getting that compliance.
Yeah, so you work towards a better
They-
solution,
They
right?
end up citing us,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and then we work through that citation, and once we citation,
We're good.
we're done.
But a
and
lot
move
of
on.
times-
And then hopefully they continue doing what we should be doing, but they don't
Yeah.
always.
Well, the crappy thing about that is you may have been doing all the right things,
Oh, yeah.
right? But the paperwork got lost or something happened.
Right.
So now you got to do a corrective action on something you were already doing correctly,
Right.
but you just can't prove it.
We had that, had an accident where an employee was hospitalized for a period of time. It was in Public Works. And I, in
Trying to
talking
remember.
with with the supervisor on it, it was in streets.
Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about.
In talking with the supervisor, they've been doing the right training, that everything that they had done, I felt like we were in compliance with because we didn't have it.
Yeah.
We then got
Yeah, we
cited for it.
Yeah.
So then we had to seek remedial action, and where it does kind of hurt us in some ways is that when we are cited, that is a searchable thing.
Mhm.
That people can find out.
Yeah.
Both
Yeah.
potential employees as well as contractors otherwise that say.
Yeah, that hurts your brand,
"Go
right?
around
That's
this."
right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes you look bad as a company, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other side of it too is the human factor, right? Wouldn't you hate to be the supervisor who sent the guys out on to do work and somebody got hurt? And the reason was because you didn't make sure this guy had his right training, or they didn't do the inspection on the PPE before they used it. Like, who wants to be in that position? And you got to make a phone call to somebody saying something bad has happened. Nobody.
Husband or wife's in the hospital.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
They can't call you.
So let's stay on top of all this, because if we do, those things don't happen.
I know with Greg retired, and Greg's kind of been over safety. Is Dave gonna kind of take that?
I don't know. I
Depends on
would,
who he hires.
yeah, I was gonna
Take
say, I
Greg's
would
spot.
guess it's who's gonna be coming in.
Okay.
And probably Greg has, and Greg, so
Yeah.
I would assume that it's gonna be the same thing. So,
Dave's pretty busy.
yeah,
Dave's not a busy.
yeah, and I don't know if he would allocate it out to, I mean, Gary takes part of it, but I think primarily it's gonna be Greg.
I remember when
Oh,
from my standpoint, I loved doing that because Greg was rolling in our piece of papers and he was tracking and this. But from the employee standpoint, I hated it
right,
because I did this, all these papers, why do I got
right.
all this?
The guys really liked him, Steve, for this thing.
At first, he was
Because
really good.
he was very good, because he was good at, getting the information out there, but not going overboard where the guys were like fighting against it. He, you know, he kind of created a camaraderie type thing, where they were willing to go and learn, and willing to, you know what I mean? There was more, they were more on board with it, and it was huge. I think he's been the best one that we've ever had,
And
because
Greg did not have a personality
no,
to do that.
the guy, no, he didn't, and the guys,
Loved Greg, but that's, he
yeah,
didn't have
exactly,
that.
but that was constantly the comments I got. They didn't like that. Steve Oakey's style was very good, very laid back, but he got the job done, and the guys were more than willing to do it just because the way he is. I mean, that's just
Mhm.
my personality,
Yep.
but he was really good at that. Really good. He had an incident before he worked here where, you know, he brought it up a lot, the tool, I guess, where he got, electricity. He got, electrocuted, and it went, I know, foot on something like that, went really looking at his foot. He had some really serious damage. And he was fine now, but it was pretty bad. But he always, you know, it was a good example. You know, singled out an example. And so I think that they
Yeah, the whole compliance side of ours and the risk and all that stuff is much more applicable to Public Works,
yeah.
the energy side, the water side is big too, because those guys are crawling in and out of confined spaces and doing dangerous work, all that stuff, right?
One of the other reasons I'm excited about this is we've been, for several years, we've been trying to revamp our manual that is about 18, 19 years old. Still very,
Yeah.
when it comes to health and safety, that's old.
Yeah, definitely.
And we've been trying to revamp it, but we haven't made much headway, and part of it is trying to create something that works citywide, but is also specific to
Yeah.
Public Works. So the thought that we've had recently was we wanted something that was accessible by iPad in the field,
Yep.
but we could go, here are your general citywide safety manual, appendix A, and now I'm gonna go to confined spaces.
Yeah.
And then within that confined spaces, we've got 10 confined spaces, and so that we can go to the confined space number 5, there's gonna be a picture of it, there's gonna, here are the hazards,
Yeah.
here are the known concerns, and have all that to where, when they're standing there in the field at number 5,
Yeah,
they
decide.
can pull it up.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Look at it, and we haven't had that ability to.
Well, you can target the distribution too, right? To make sure that, so if you've got this giant manual that
Yeah.
you're trying to cover everybody off with, well, there's a lot of material in there that IT doesn't need to know about confined spaces, right? So,
I don't know, it depends on if we're pulling it through a tunnel underneath the city.
that's a bad example then. But council probably doesn't. There's nobody from council who's actually going to go in those confined spaces, right?
Right.
So you can target it,
No, please no.
Except
keep
if
the
it's
general
like
ones for all
100
employees,
Yeah.
and then keep the ones that are pertinent to those people just going out to those
Yeah.
people. And that's good too, right? Because then otherwise it becomes an overwhelming, and people just don't go there.
Totally. That's
Yeah.
currently where we're at.
Yeah.
It's so big, it's also, people just like,
Yeah, whatever, right? Yeah,
I looked at that.
Right.
yeah.
There's some things I don't use
That's almost having it.
You may as well not, right? Yeah, exactly. All right. Oh, I said if there's any, but I didn't. I didn't do that. That was a lie. Let's have a look here. Just going to see if there's anything that. Oh, Bud's risk analysis. Let me just move this so I can see it better. Now, is there anything you guys have seen on the system so far that you don't like? Like, is there things that you're saying, oh, I don't like how that works, or that looks funny, or I don't think that'll be applicable? Are there things like that you're seeing, or does it seem like it's pretty simple to use? I know on the example that I keep showing, there's a lot of side panel options, but that's just because I'm in as an administrator. Obviously, for when the employees go in, they're going to have two options. Right? Look at my training stuff and show me, and the reports that are available to me that I can look at, and that kind of stuff. So. And we just, so exactly. So we set it up. So as administrators, you're going to have more access than a bunch of people. But even at the supervisory level, they're going to have pared down access from you guys, right? Because they don't need access to everything. So we tailor it to the need. Otherwise, much stuff. Let's see, compliance by business unit. Biz dev. Nope. Meetings. There's also a bunch of, we're going to go through a process just to give you guys sort of an idea of what we're going to do. So from all of those policies and procedures and the training items that we're collecting from you guys in those worksheets, we're going to set up your system initially. There'll be some changes, additional things put in or whatever. But we're going to go through a verification process that is kind of driven through the system. So we've got a bunch of verification reports that we'll be working with you guys to verify everything we've loaded and making adjustments and that. So this is kind of a typical verification report that we use. So when we get closer to actual implementation and we've got all your stuff in there, we'll go through a process where we'll look at all the positions and the users that are associated with them, and are they in the correct business units, And this is kind of the process we're going to go through with that. So there's a ton of these, well, not a ton, there's users, business units, positions, any others? And then through these, now I'm not sure if this one's set up for the links. Oh, it is, but that's ugly. It's not the right view, but let's see. Oh, it's the links aren't set up on this one. Oh, it's in the ugly view though. But the links anyway are so that you, as we're going through, you can make adjustments right away on there. You can just click on it and then go to the maintenance screen, and you can change whether it's active, inactive, or fix up anything, the position is incorrect or whatever. So we'll go through that process with you guys. We'll probably get you started, and then it'll be sort of a homework item for you guys to take care of. Let me see, anything else I can show you before we go?
I have a question about something.
Yep.
So we kind of just briefly discussed that on our training worksheet, one of the items is competency check. After talking to some of my staff yesterday, I would like some more information on that. Could that be used, so we have our guest service at the rec center, they have a 2-week training they have to complete every 2 weeks. And right now, it's just they're reporting, the supervisor checks off on a spreadsheet that they did that. Could competency check be something like that? That it's scheduled in there and then the supervisor's just going and saying they watch them do that task and... Yes, that's the point, yeah. So the whole, so competency, so the idea of being competent is I've read the procedure, right? So you've signed off on a process. That's the document piece of it. I've also, I completed a test to say I absorbed the information, and then the actual being completely competent is, then I had somebody who is a seasoned professional watch me do this stuff, and they said I'm doing it correctly, right? So that's the behind it. Now, obviously, test on everything, but those are kind of the things. So yeah, that's exactly what it's designed for. Now the 2-week, the actual training, what's that of? It's usually a PowerPoint that they go through, and then they have to find a shift lead, whoever's on staff, and they have to show them on their computer how to do this policy. So you would have you would have that set up as a review that they have to do every 2 weeks. And they would get notified and all that good stuff, and then they sign off on it. And then the competency check would also be there, and that's basically the supervisor reviews, and then the supervisor can also, there's the ability to upload proof against it, right? So sometimes you can take a picture or a video of the person doing it if you really want to go to that level. That's more, you see that kind of stuff in the utility industry. It's like, oh, so they know how to climb the pole now. Well, I'm going to video him doing that for the record, and then I'm going to sign off that he was doing everything correctly. But for this, I don't think you'd need to do that. So it'd just be the supervisor would just click approved. So that's exactly what it's for. Multiple people could have access to. You can set up multiple supervisors for a single person. We set up, there's 2 types of supervisors. There's a primary, who's the person 90% of the time you're supposed to go to. And then we have alternates. So in the absence of John, Fred is my supervisor. So Fred would have access to do those competencies. So you would just set those up for that person. All right? So yeah, that's a perfect example of a competency check. And the good thing is, you don't have to get involved at all, other than overseeing that it all got done. Right? So the supervisor gets the notice that, oh, so-and-so completed, you need to sign off on it. And the person gets a notification your training is due. Make sure you watch the PowerPoint. And then that's it. And the only time you get involved is if the stats were showing you that they didn't do it. Yeah. custodial to, if they're new, they have to go and clean a restroom and use the specific machines for the restroom in front of their supervisor and show,
Yeah.
okay, you know how this machine works,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, that's perfect for exactly that. So the PowerPoint, is that sort of a, hey, how to safely use the equipment? Here's the standard to which we expect.
The equipment one is more they're watching, as a group, they're watching somebody do it, and then they have to individually all show that they can do it, but the one that's more like for how to sign somebody up for a sport, that one's usually a PowerPoint, and then
Okay.
you just have to pass off that they knew how to do it.
Yeah, you're gonna have a mix, right? Because you've got inside and outside,
Correct.
so you got a lot to kind of deal with. Yeah.
Okay, great. We'll definitely use that one.
So Janet, who manages your internal folks, like the administrative party of the Public Works?
Well, I do a lot of it. I mean, there's 3 executive assistants, like my same position. I'm over water, and then there's a public services and engineering, but if everything's just lumped under public works, it comes to me.
Okay. So you're responsible for all the administrative staff internally, plus all of the crews and.
Well, just on certain things. I mean, like I said, each person in my position is responsible for their department.
Okay.
But if it all comes to public works, then I'm responsible for all of the employees. It's just like right now how Renee from Payroll was mentioning, like they have these conflict of interest forms. I'm responsible for all of public works for tracking, making sure they're completed.
I see.
So.
Okay. All right. Well, I think, guys, we can wrap it up, unless anybody's got any other questions.
Begging people to do it and have them do one
One and
But not the other.
and I'm
Yes.
like, oh my gosh.
Or they do the same one twice.
Oh, I
tried
had
that
one
too.
guy do it 6 times. I'm like, okay, you don't need to hit submit 6 times. Yeah, those are awful.
Will there be an opportunity to see the licensing at another time?
You know, at another time, yeah, I'll have to. I couldn't get it set up in time to do that. So what I'll do is, because I need to coordinate with Bud on he wants to do a little more on the safety side for Public Works and what was the other one? Parks and Rec and all the OSHA ones. So I'll coordinate with him when we're going to do that, and I'll put in the licensing stuff so that you can see that and make sure it's applicable, and we can talk about it. Okay. So I'll take that offline, and we'll just do that one-on-one. So Matt, you're going to get me the listing of the training stuff on the worksheet, or did you already send it?
No, not yet.
Okay, perfect.
Yep, I'll get all that. We have so much internal training that worksheet that we were talking about yesterday.
It's going to take you a bit to get it done.
Yeah, just because certain ones are applicable to certain people, but not to other staff.
And you were struggling with the HR setup as badly as I was too. Yeah,
I
I can.
didn't quite understand the whole job code, because when they sent that out, it further confused me,
Mhm.
saying, well, do I have to have this job code number? And the good part is that Daniel explained it, that if it's not applicable to this group as
Mhm.
defined, then a secondary could be, okay, applicable to anyone with this job code
Yeah.
within this group.
Yeah, these 3 job codes or whatever.
So that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Okay,
I said, read
I'll
the
get
note
that over
from
to you.
legal.
that's great. Thank you. Oh, and stuff, the subcontractor, I just wanted to mention that. So it's on the worksheet, there's that one panel for any subcontractors. I don't know if that, yeah. If you don't have them, don't worry about it. Public Works probably you subcontract some stuff out.
Do like a vendor list.
Yeah, that's what we need.
But I would think that like they would get that from like Treasury or something, because they have an entire vendor list for the city.
Oh, they've got all of
Yeah,
those?
they have like a master.
Oh. Who would I talk to over there? Who?
That would be Andrea
Yeah,
in finance.
Andrea.
I just don't know though because her list is every vendor that we work with, and I don't know if she has it divided out on
departmentally?
We
Or
very
people that would
rarely
actually
do
like
that.
come and be doing work for us, cause that's including vendors that we just buy stuff from.
Right, 'cause
Oh, I
again,
don't, yeah, I
couldn't
don't want
even-
those.
I don't even know if I could tell you because we don't use specific people every single time.
Okay,
So I don't
I
even
give
know
you,
how that-
we have a company that comes and washes our windows at the rec center, like, we have those kind of subcontractors that we use
Yeah.
annually, but
Ours
it's probably
varies
like
a
free.
lot.
But I can
you know,
give
how-
you
so
those.
over time, you're a lot of people in and out on the contractor
Yeah,
side?
depending on who can fulfill the need and who gets the best, the lowest bid.
Yeah.
So-
Just like an RFP for stuff.
Yeah, and then, so what do you guys do in terms of making sure they've got any requirements that you, like if
They
they're,
send them a vendor, they send them a couple vendor forms that they have to fill out.
okay,
I guess
They were
that is
doing
probably a question you
treasury.
wanna have with Andrea,
Yeah.
because before we can set them up as a vendor to pay them, she is verifying that
Right.
they've given her their W-9.
she does the onboarding stuff?
Yes.
Okay, so
Assigns them a-
W-9 and
she assigns them
onboarding,
a vendor number and all
Is
that
And
that-
so,
stuff.
and then
Okay.
once we get their vendor number, we know all their stuff has been verified by finance.
okay, all
I
right,
would think that would be something for her too.
Yeah.
okay, so I will speak with her. Yeah, she can probably pull out all the ones that are strictly supply vendors versus actually doing
Right.
subcontracting work. Okay, all right, let me make a note of that.
Paper's kind of warped, I think they're trying to norm. Maybe an actual photo, since that's a concept design, I'm pretty sure. Sorry, just don't look for your real.
We're